We are going to be making some brownies this week. I'm going to start by turning our ovens on to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So that can preheat for us. And we're going to go ahead and either line our 9x9 baking dish with parchment paper. If you don't have parchment paper, no worries. You can use cooking spray to spray it, or you can grease it with butter and margarine, just like we've done with our last two recipes. But I happen to have some parchment paper, so I'm going to go that route. Fold over for me. Okay, well, it's going to stay when we get our batter in it. So let's go ahead and get our parchment paper roll out of our way. And we're going to go ahead and melt the butter that's called for in the recipe. I'm going to skip a step. I had suggested that you all take a small microwave safe bowl. But my mixing bowl happens to be glass, which is microwave safe, so I'm going to go ahead and melt my butter right in my mixing bowl. So the recipe calls for 1 whole stick plus 2 tablespoons of butter. So let me cut off that 2 tablespoons. Pop that in my mixing bowl. And then just to make this melt a little easier, I'm going to go ahead and cut up the stick a little bit as well. Just into some larger chunks. And this literally just came out of the refrigerator, so it is cold and hard. There we go. And you always want to cover, because butter, when it melts in the microwave, likes to splatter. So I got my cover that I use in the microwave. You can also use a layer of paper towels over your bowl, but don't put it in there without a cover, otherwise you'll have some upset parents. I'm going to go ahead and microwave for about 50 seconds. So that can be fully melted. You guys have had a nice weekend. I am filming this on Sunday evening, Mother's Day, and today was gorgeous. Took a nice walk outside. Hopefully you guys got out, rode bikes, or took a walk, or did some yard work. It was a great day. All right, so you can hear it in my microwave like splattering. If I didn't have that cover on there, it would be quite a mess. That sounds like it's going to be good to go. All right. That's melted just fine. So again, that was 50 seconds. You could probably have done a little bit less than that. That would have worked fine. There's still some chunks in there, but they're nice and soft, so they're going to be just fine to go ahead and move forward. If you had used a smaller bowl, and had your melted butter in it, you would be pouring it into your mixing bowl at this point. Our next step is to add a cup of sugar to this melted butter. Again, that is 1 full cup of granulated sugar. Now, the author of this recipe suggested using a whisk. I'm a fan of just a good old sturdy fork. You can do whatever works for you. So, just want to get that sugar combined with that butter. break up those pieces of butter that hadn't melted all the way through. All right, so that is combined and that butter chunks are done. So now we're going to go ahead and add in 2 eggs. Hopefully that's not going to sink all the way down. Crack our 2 eggs. Whoa. Almost lost that fork in there. All right. And get those mixed in there a little bit. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and wash my hands because they got a little eggy. And I'm gonna pop these eggs back in the fridge so they can stay nice and cold, ready for breakfast tomorrow. We are ready for 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. There we go. I've got a good balancing act going on now. Rather clumsy, and I do not want to spill that. Vanilla is very expensive. All right, again, you could be using a whisk, or if you're like me, just using a fork. So getting the eggs fully combined and that vanilla all mixed in with that butter sugar mixture. All right. Looks good to me. There, since this keeps wanting to sink, I'm just going to grab a little plate to rest that on. All right, we are ready to melt some chocolate chips. We're going to be measuring a 1/2 cup of chocolate chips. Right on the money there. All right. And then we're gonna melt this in the microwave about 30 seconds is the time. This is not gonna splatter, so I'm not gonna worry about covering it. I'm gonna start with 30 seconds. I'm gonna grab a new fork. Because once we do the 30 seconds, it won't be fully melted. We're going to give it a stir, and then we're going to do another 20 to 30 seconds to get it fully melted. This is a very chocolatey recipe. In addition to this melted chocolate that we're putting into the batter, we're going to add whole chocolate chips later. I think you can ever have too much chocolate. All right, so that really didn't do much for me there, just a little bit melted on the bottom. So this is gonna need way more time. So let's do another 30 seconds. And we're probably gonna need to do another round after that. Sometimes baking is a little bit of guesswork, a little bit of experience. While I was talking now, you heard my chime. My oven is preheated, so it'll be ready to go as soon as we get this batter ready. All right, let's see. Okay, now we're making some progress here. So you're gonna see it's starting to get melty there. definitely needs some more time, so I'm just kind of stirring that a bit. This time I'm going to do 25 seconds since it's already a good bit of the way there. I don't think it needs another full 30 seconds. And we're definitely going to need a spatula to be scraping this out, along with the good chocolate that's on that fork too. All right, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, oh yeah, that looks good. So you can still see it's a little bit chippy when you first get set it there, but it's now smooth and ready to go. All right, so that is perfect. So that was 30 and then 30 and then another 25 in my microwave. Your microwave might be a little bit different than mine, but that's probably about what you're going for. All right, so we are ready to add this into the butter mixture. That smells really yummy. Fork and trying to scrape off as much as I can in there. All right, I'm just going to set this aside because we are going to need it a little bit later. So mixing in the chocolate into the sugar, egg, butter, vanilla mixture. Yum. Alright, that looks pretty much combined. Let's see if we can get that off there. Alright, so we are ready for 3/4 of a cup of flour. Rinse my finger off, I got a little chocolate on it. Messy work. All right, let's see if I can guess right like I did with the chocolate chips. No, not quite. It's probably a little too much. Maybe just a smidge too much. I think that's good enough. All right, so 3/4 of a cup of flour, and then a 1/4 cup of, I have this one out, we'll just use that. I'm gonna go with a 1/4 of a cup, chocolate on top of my container there, of unsweetened cocoa powder. I am using Hershey's. Smidge more. All right, so 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. spatula gets to go back to work. Try and scoop up a little bit of that chocolate that spilled onto that plate. Now normally I would just be using the fork again, but I'm going to follow the directions that the recipe author listed. Alright, and I'm really trying to scrape these sides to get everything all combined together. And what I've learned over my years of baking is using like a bigger bowl allows you to do this a little easier than using something that's a little smaller and narrower. All right. Seems that all of those ingredients are now completely combined. I'm not seeing any evidence of flour or cocoa powder on the side of my bowl any longer. And our last step is just to add some more chocolate chips in there. So we need to do 1 cup of chocolate chips. Whoops! All right, well that's going to have to get washed. And I happen to put aside both my measuring cups that I already used. So, got a fresh one. Let's clear myself up here a little bit. All right, so 1 full cup of chocolate chips. Added to the batter. Wow, that is going to be some really chocolatey brownies. I like chocolate chips in my brownies. Now, if your family's a fan of nuts, you of course could add nuts in here. I am not personally a fan of nuts and brownies, so I don't usually add them. Just lots of chocolate chips. All right. So I'm going to kind of center that since it wouldn't really cooperate before, but it's going to cooperate once we get this heavy batter in here. And wow, that is some heavy batter. I'm going to take a pause here while I get this parchment to cooperate a little bit. Now that I got a little weight in there, I don't know. In hindsight, maybe just greasing the pan would have been easier next time. So those of you who didn't have parchment, that is probably fine. You can see I am struggling with mine. I enjoy using parchment for cookies. It makes the cleanup easier, but I'm not sure how I feel about it with brownies. I don't know. Next time I'll use either a greased pan or cooking spray, and then I'll compare. Okay. All right, so this seems pretty thick in this small pan here, which is what they were calling for. It indicates cooking for 30 minutes. The author suggested adding 5 extra minutes for a glass pan, which is what I am using. as well. But I'm going to check it at 30 minutes. You definitely don't want to over bake these brownies for sure. That would not be good. All right, try and get this last little bit of batter here in there. And this seems like a lot of excess parchment, so I'm going to take my culinary scissors and cut off that excess. I do not want that burning in my oven. This side, and do the same. And there we go. Alrighty. So friends, that is ready to go in the oven. And I'm going to set that timer for 30 seconds. And 30 minutes, not 30 seconds. Set my timer for 30 minutes and we'll see if that did the trick. All right, thanks for baking with me.